told you I want to talk about this. I grew up in Transylvania. I currently live at Castle Bran, and don't come looking for me, because my crypt is sealed tight, so you can't come in and kill me. I am up all night, and that's when I attack the villagers, and I sleep during the day. Thank you. Actually, that's basically me. I grew up in Transylvania, which is Detroit. I currently live in my Fort Lauderdale castle. I am up all night terrorizing the villagers, and I sleep with my dog during the day. So that's kind of it. As a child, drawing Halloween stuff on the edge of papers. That, like, we write little stories. Just, gosh, it's so odd. I haven't thought of any of this stuff. It's kind of funny. Just escaping stuff by drawing really gruesome, weird things on the sides of my school papers. Werewolves and severed heads and ghosts and all that fun stuff on my school papers. Horror is another escape. I love it, because as evil as it seems, it's not. That's fake evil. Real evil is the news. If you want to use the word horror, cable news is horror. Okay? Horror movies are like an escape art in a way. So I love it. You know, even if you're a little scared, whatever, it draws you in. And fear is one of our absolute most honest emotions. You can talk about love, you can talk about this. Fear is involved in love too. It's such a basal emotion for us. So that's what I like about horror with it. Does it influence it? Completely. I've done nesting dolls based on Friday the 13th, which I love those movies. Done stuff with Creature from the Black Lagoon, Scream, one of those post-World War I German expressionist silent films, Nosferatu, as a sloth. So it's any of that horror creeps in everything with me, for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you two stories just real quick. Well, with the nesting doll stuff, I did those for a show in particular, but there's a craft where I had no idea what to do with it. I just wanted to paint on, like, my mom's. I wanted to paint goofy stuff that's sort of weird and gory on, like, my mom's old nesting dolls, but I obviously can't find those. So these aren't bad though. These I finally learned the craft somewhat with it by the time I got into it. But my first set I painted 5 times. And it was such a learning experience because no one did it. There's no instructions. And if you want to talk about a craft, there you go. These things take forever. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. I actually really hate painting them probably about a quarter of the way through it. And I wish I didn't even start. So there you go. Now at the end I go, okay, I like it. You know, the product, whatever. I like things for about 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 15, maybe 10, 15 minutes I like. And then I just start hating it, like everything else. But those are a craft. Recently, I've become obsessed with post-World War I German expressionist silent film. Society was coming to an interesting head where a lot of people were dropping organized religion and falling into occults. And it wasn't an occult like we're wearing, robes and burning people. It was the type of thing where people were looking into alchemy and science and trying to explore different parts of their body, different functions in the body that ran things. The reason that I got so obsessed with some of it is these directors would rather direct one movie and that's it, as long as it was perfect with an absolute grandiose vision. And I love it because those movies like Murnau's stuff, Faust and Nosferatu, Fritz Lang's Metropolis, the ubiquitous one. Those guys made artwork. While in America they were churning out 55 cowboy movies a week, all for a $250 budget with the same actor over and over and over, with white people painted red as Indians. These guys in Germany were looking for grand cinema. They were looking to change the art form and to really care about it. They had a deep resolve, care for it, and respect. So that's an inspiration. I have no idea. I've got. Wow, no. What is it? Is it a Hunter Thompson one where when going gets tough? Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot it. I don't know. Not offhand. I can't remember anything offhand. Listen, I love those. I do love a lot of that stuff, but in all honesty, it really doesn't motivate me. It just doesn't. Because sometimes I know that it could be like Oscar Wilde, where so much of what he said was a joke. Mark Twain. So much of what Mark Twain said was completely a joke. And for that reason, he wanted to see how many people could take it seriously. I need a really cool, weird movie quote right now. South Florida. I love it because it was almost, to me, one thing I like about growing up in Detroit that I never really knew, or I did know a little bit. A lot of weird, dark stuff comes from there because, first of all, the sun never comes out. So you get weird when the sun doesn't come out, and you're staring at a wall for 7 months of winter. And it seems to boil this like stew of oddness. There's like a weird energy up there, and since it's the Midwest, everyone has to hide it, so it never gets released. Well, the one thing I like about South Florida is it kind of gets released, but there's a weird thing to it. South Florida was the capital. Fort Lauderdale was one of the capitals of the goth movement, of all places to dress in all black in South Florida. That makes a lot of sense, but regardless, it is, and it makes sense because the city has always had this weird sort of underground darkness in a palm tree and beach environment. Once again, I love it, playing off that, light and dark dichotomy. It's the beaches with that weird, sinister feel beneath it, something sour. Throughout history, eventually, no one will know Rockefeller. No one will know Morgan. No one will care. It's kind of like in 1600s Holland. There's more pretension for you. But with the Flemish masters, they were commissioned to paint businessmen, business tycoons. That was the center of business of the world in ways that we couldn't even understand now. Gigantic loads of money coming through. And it's ironic that all that money, all that business, all the money they made, no one remembers one of their names, and never will, and they won't care. But they remember Vermeer, who, what did he paint? He painted hardly any paintings. At one point he painted one painting over 2 years. They remember Rembrandt. All right, the guy who was commissioned to paint some of the stuff and that did it in an ironic manner. But they don't even remember the guys in the paintings themselves. They don't even care about like the Night Watchman, which the people who commissioned that piece hated and fretted over. But no one even knows any of those guys in it at all. Then they don't care to know. They don't even ask. They just know it's Rembrandt. And Rembrandt died poor. So it's cultural importance. Record of anything in society, even from the minutiae to the grandiose, is carried through art. Anything in the Qin dynasty, China, those terracotta warriors, that was that guy's legacy. If Emperor Qin dies and doesn't have that, you'll never know how great he was, but he had this grand army created by artists to show you how huge he was. And same thing with the Egyptians. We still don't know a lot of the stuff with their governments, but we know absolutely everything via their art that tells the story. And it goes, name a civilization, the art tells the story. That's the importance. I've always liked stuff that's sugar-coated disasters, like a carnival, where it's like, you show up to it and everything looks great, and behind the scenes everyone running it is some form of a monster or a weirdo or a criminal. I like that type of stuff. I like the surreal behind the serene. Anything that has that dichotomy of dark and light. Success for me is doing something of some importance to a community, and that's a community of anything, the overarching world community, or your tiny community of your family, or just your local area community. Doing something that matters, something that can either bring people together in the weirdest way possible, something that takes them away from their maybe their pain or their anxiety for a minute, something that makes someone else or a community just feel better, something that is better, something for the greater good. That's what I like about success. I think they'd be shocked to know that I'm pretty anxious, surprisingly. I come across, I've met some people, girlfriends included, who thought I was a major dick or just an arrogant douche, and that I really have my stuff together, because if I go, I have no problem being, that's when it's game on when I go to any kind of event or any party or anything like that. So I look extremely confident a lot of times, but a lot of that is the anxiety coming out. That's why I play hockey. For one, right now I like the positions in sports that it's all on you, like pitching and baseball, quarterback and football. I like all that, and what it does is it forces me to face the anxiety. And all right, someone scores on me, it centers me. I can then go, all right, now I'm going to work on not getting scored on again. And it kind of centers me instead of just having this like crippling, oh gosh, are they going to score? No, I just know that it's that. And we can face it just like baseball. I got another pitch coming. Those are the things that grounded me and grounded my anxiety. Everyone should play organized sports growing up. Everybody. Another opinion. I think it was about 4 years ago now, I started practicing transcendental meditation. From the Maharishi. That was actually something I discovered via Howard Stern, and it has helped me out in a lot of weird ways. I have no reliance on anything, and I despise reliances now. I stopped drinking coffee because I felt like I was, and that's the smallest addiction, but I felt addicted to it, like I had to have it. And that now it freaks me out. It calms me down. It keeps me grounded, but it's also just something that's, I shouldn't even say that. It doesn't even have a description. That's what's so great about it, is it's nothing. There's nothing to it. That's it. It's just nothing. And you just practice it as a simple nothing practice. No strings attached. It doesn't turn into anxiety. It doesn't turn into anything. It's just nothing. That's all. My 8th grade teacher, Mr. Staines, who taught my Sage class and English. But that's my hero, if you want to use that word of someone, or to put that on someone. His understanding, his lack of judgment, his ability to really see what someone's about for who they are, not making it. We tend to not see people for who they are. We see people for who we want them to be. In anything, in any relationships, we anything we do, day to day, we want to fit that person into something instead of like going, hey, this is who they are, and that's that. We have to do that. And he saw everyone for who they were, and I like that because the saying I always loved with him was when he met with my mom, and my mom said, is my son weird? Like, why does he draw this stuff? Why does he watch this? Why does he act like this? Why is it all gory? And Mr. Staines was like, no, Billy isn't weird. He's just a little macabre. And I like it because that's simple. It's not a gigantic explanation, but it's just saying enough to be like, hey, he's not a weird label. This is just something he does, and it's part of him. And it was that simplicity. Mr. Staines saved my life. Mm-hmm. Teachers, those are the superstars. That's it. Mm-hmm. I still haven't. Honestly, I haven't. I don't know if I really want to, in all honesty. A lot of it's fake. A lot of it, to me, is contrived. A lot of it's people talking about what they think they need to say, what they think they need to do. This is what I do. It's like, buy an artist package. I bought the supplies. I have the studio. I even have the funky clothes. Now I'm an artist. And that kind of stuff disgusts me. I don't know if it's just more of that fakeness, more of that lack of substance. So I never cared to be an actual artist in that sense. I love art. I love everything to do with art. I love everything, the feel of it, just the groove of it, all that type of stuff I love. But that other stuff it's just humanity's thing. This is what I am. It somehow justifies what you do instead of just doing it, and leaving that for the justification. I'd rather just do stuff. A title's confusing. It's even constraining, because sometimes when people are even like, I'm an artist, and they're like, well, I have to do this because I'm an artist now, or I have to do this because of this. As soon as you lock me down in any type of cage, I'm gone. I will bend those bars and I'll leave and I'll never look back. And that's one of the reasons I almost didn't go into it, is because I was afraid that I love it so much and I care about it so much and have such a strong passion for it and just a fever for it, that if I found myself falling into that trap, if I found myself just becoming that whatever, that artist avatar, if I found myself becoming that, I'd be so disgusted that I just would never want to do it again, and that would be extremely depressing. And I wouldn't do it again. If it ever comes to that, I'll just bye. That's that. If it has that lack of substance and you're just driving for what you feel it needs to be to fill a title or anything like that, it's just not for me. Absolutely. Because what I like about it is sometimes an artist makes it seem odd. The word artist throughout time was more of a craftsmanship, and there were divas, but less of a rock star type feel. In a lot of our society, we like to say, I'm an artist, and anyone can be an artist. In a lot of time, it's just a BS artist, I think, or at least, I shouldn't say that. It's not an all damning opinion on it, but you'll see some people who don't respect the craft. See, I feel like I'm being really down right now, but you'll see that. You'll see people who really don't respect the craft, and they're just like, hey, this is what I am, even though I didn't push, I didn't hone my technique. Guitarists, the same way. You'll hear some guitarists, they sound like they're playing off. Dwayne Allman was one. He sounds like he's not hitting every note. His bends can be a little weaker at times. he has full control over it. He's doing that absolutely on purpose. And the best guitarists, at least in my opinion,
That's my opinion!
the best guitarists, the best artists, they're all craftsmen. They're all craftsmen at the beginning. And plus, I kind of grew up working with wood. My brother was is a fantastic woodworker. So I saw the respect he had for it and how he honed his technique. And then from there, you kind of go out and use it. You learn that craft, and you learn all the rules and the fundamentals. Constant fear, and this is another reason that I don't like art, and that I didn't want to get into it, and that I avoided it for so long, because it's just constant fear. It's just this endless fear of failure, and it can't. I mask it, and I try to pretend read on the internet. No, look, it says this. Oh, neat. Yeah, okay. And it's that simple. But it almost drives me, or it does drive me in a way, and it also drives me nuts as well. But it's that fear of failure. It has to be. And then it turns into it's one reason I love painting. And that's why I have to listen to music with it. Otherwise, forget it. But it's like this. It'll be like frenetic, insane fear crushing me, and then it turns into this. It became so big I just fall apart and sit there and stare like a catatonic patient, and then it comes back and I feel great, and then it turns into the fear again. It's just a roller coaster of emotions on it. Terrifying. It affects everything. Music is life. It's amazing. It saved my life, actually. It's been my refuge forever. I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say, but I could never work without it, depending on what I work on. Every single piece that I do, I finish at the end with Appetite for Destruction, front to back. I have to, as a compulsion. And forget it. It's what makes me actually excited about doing this stuff, and it helps me overcome the anxiety of doing the work. If I get into recently, it's been I've been obsessed with Deep Purple and Black Sabbath group changes and lineup changes, and I'll obsess over it, and where they go from bands to bands to bands, and that kind of helps me pull away from that extreme anxiety I have over creating. It calms me. I love it. Music is everything. How long you want to hang out here for? All right, have a good day. Oh, well, I kind of want to stare at his ass. Okay. All right, I'm not a monkey. I'm not here to dance.